It's time, though, to make it even better. It's time for Labour.
Order. What a contrast. Order. The question is that the motion be agreed to. The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, can I begin by congratulating the previous Speaker on her ascension to the leadership of her party? And can I congratulate her on her speech, Mr Speaker, which was positively Little-esque. It was positively Little-esque, Mr Speaker. She's going to be, she says, relentlessly positive about New Zealand. Well, I think she's probably about 30% of the way there going on that speech, Mr Speaker. She obviously has a lot of work to do over the next 5 and a bit weeks until the polls open. But I know, Mr Speaker, she's out there, she's doing it, and she's already talking about changing policies, except all she's done so far is say that she won't be interested in a fresh approach. And I can see why. Because the two policies she's name-checked this afternoon are firstly R&D tax credits, which have been Labour's policy for roughly 2 millennia, and, Mr Speaker, the education policy that was written in 2011 or 2014, which is apparently still the best possible education policy in 2017. So the fresh approach has quite clearly gone, Mr Speaker. Now, I wonder if this afternoon whether I could offer Jacinda Ardern a little bit of political advice in the interests of bipartisanship, Mr Speaker. I think that's important. I've helped Annette King over the years. I've made Annette everything she is today, Mr Speaker, and I thought I would offer a little bit of advice. First bit of advice is watch Grant. Watch Grant. A lot of leaders have made that mistake, Mr Speaker, of not watching Grant. I suggest she watches Grant because, amongst many other things, he'll want to spend the surplus several times between now and September 23rd. Mr Speaker, I'd suggest she watches Phil Twyford because he's got a bit of a tendency to scapegoat parts of our society, which is not exactly relentless positivity, not exactly relentless. Can I suggest she watches David Parker, who wants to take a scorched earth policy to New Zealand's regions with his approach to water and climate change? Can I suggest she watch Materia and the Greens, who are interested only in removing all obligations for people receiving a benefit? I suggest she does that. And can I also suggest she watches Winston, Mr Speaker? Watches, because it's always a good idea to watch Winston when you're in the opposition, because he thinks he's the leader of the opposition. He especially thinks he's the leadership of the opposition as of yesterday, Mr Speaker, so I suggest she watches that. But, Mr Speaker, I'd like to encourage her in her relentless positivity, and I'd like to encourage her to get out and have a look around New Zealand, because she talked about the time when she was growing up, when times were tough in rural New Zealand, and actually she should go out now and have a look, because actually rural and regional New Zealand is in really good shape, Mr Speaker. Rural and regional New Zealand is growing strongly. She should go to Hawke's Bay and see all the horticulturalists growing their businesses because of this government's approach to trade. She should go to Oamaru in North Otago, which is growing the fastest it has in 25 years. She should go all around the coast. Go to Dunedin, see the tech sector growing in Dunedin. Go to Auckland, where this new opposition spokesman at the back said that Auckland was struggling, and she should go and drive through the Waterview Tunnel to her electorate and see the progress that's being made there. And, Mr Speaker, above all, she should go to West Auckland and South Auckland, where many New Zealand families will be getting the benefits of the family incomes tax package from this budget, Mr Speaker, on April 1st of next year. Mr Speaker, all of those things are positive things that are happening in this country because we're taking an open and introducing and connected view of the world where Kiwis are encouraged to get out and win on the world stage. New Zealanders are embracing that. The country is growing strongly. The Labour Party is still denying it. And that's their problem, Mr Speaker. They can change leader as often as they like, but if they don't see New Zealand companies growing, if they don't see jobs growing, if they don't see incomes growing, if they don't see families benefiting from this government's approach to getting the books in balance and investing in infrastructure and services, then they'll continue to languish, Mr Speaker, because they are completely disconnected from the reality of most New Zealanders around the country, in regional New Zealand, in our big cities, and that's why they're supporting this government, because it's growing New Zealand and delivering for New Zealanders.
Order. Order. I was reluctant to interrupt the member through his speech because he was certainly battering against a considerable amount of interjection. But throughout his speech, he frequently referred to members by their Christian name only. I have asked him not to do that in the past. He needs to watch that in the future. It will lead to disorder.
Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, it's really interesting, isn't it, listening to Mr. Joyce speak. Go to West.